And today, okay. So my name's Rebecca. Good afternoon, all. It's nice to meet you all this afternoon. I would like to talk about BABN. We are the British African Diaspora Business Network, a network that fosters businesses to grow, scale, and strive. Today's topic is a very interesting topic, regardless if you're doing a bit, regardless if you're running a business that is business to business or business to customers, service based or product. This is the webinar to learn how to retain your customers, grow your customers, which obviously has a positive impact on your sales. Um, Dr. Toying will be leading the webinar, leading the conversation and the webinar today on the topic of how to grow and maintain your customers. So I'll pass it on to Dr. Toying.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome and thank you again for joining us on another series of our webinar, which we do on a monthly basis. So if you've never been here before, please check us out on our website, on our social media handle. So my name is Toyin Magbagbiola. I'm an entrepreneur and I dabble into different things because they always say one road does not lead to your success. So it's always good to have lots of things going on the go. But before you do that, you also have to understand who you are as an individual. So today we're going to be talking about customers. So I'm going to share my slide because it's going to be interactive, some parts of it. And it's important as entrepreneurs that we need to focus on certain questions. Can we mute? Yeah. So we need to focus on certain things when you're thinking about growing your businesses. So I'm going to share my slide. Hopefully it should work. And okay, I hope you can see that. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. You can see your screen.
Okay, fantastic.
Perfect.
Okay. So it's all about how to grow and maintain your business. And I always say when you're running a business, there's a reason why. And we also appreciate that you cannot grow your business on your own. You cannot be successful on your own. So you all need people to help you along to achieve your goals or your desired dream as a business owner. So what we need to know, the must knows is first of all, when you get your customers, because we're going to do in between, because first you have to get the customers, but you have to actually understand as a business owner, what does customer service mean to you? Because if you get your customers, how are you going to provide the service that you want to provide, depending on the kind of business that you run? And there are various kinds of businesses. So there might be tweaks in what you do with the basic knowledge that you need as you're growing your business and growing your customer base. So whatever your business is, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today is going to actually apply, but it might be in different ways. So the must know is that first of all, you need to understand what is customer service in relation to your business. You need to understand your business. You need to understand yourself as an individual and also understand the kind of customers that you're bringing in. Yeah. You need to understand the importance of communication and building relationship with your customers. And then at the end, we'll probably have some customer service tips. And there's going to be a little bit of scenario where people will get involved and can have a conversation. So when we're thinking about, I'm an entrepreneur, but do I know who I am? Yeah. I run a business, but do I really know who I am? Why am I in this business? What is the whole aim or the vision of the business that you're holding? So it's always important. I always say for every business owner, you need to go and do your personality test. That will be a first port of call. And the reason being, because once you understand who you are as an individual, and then you understand different kinds of people and their personalities, you're actually at a good start to engage and communicate with people, because various personality will determine the way you're going to communicate with them and transfer that individual into a customer. Yeah. So things like body language, and I always say the most important thing as a business owner is you always have to smile. You cannot be in business, you cannot be looking for a customer and looking grumpy. It's not going to work, you know? And especially in the Black culture, there's the issue about getting to know your customer by asking questions. But we need to dispel that myth. Because a lot of us think if you talk about what you do with people, they think you're boasting or you're being intrusive. But you know what? It's important that you know who you are. And it's also important that you know how to engage. So let's look at the question of your business. I want each of you to look at your current businesses or business, whatever you're doing at the moment, and ask yourself, what is your business about? You can put it in the chat, or you can just write it somewhere. You know, what is your business about? Are you offering goods or service? Do you value your customer service and your customers? Define your expectation if you are the customer to your business. Because we always say, treat others as you like to be treated, isn't it? That's what we all talk about. So define your expectation if you are the customer to your business. What would you expect? What added value are you providing in whatever business that you're running? Because that's very, very important. What added value? Because every single one of us will run businesses, but we all inherently have a gift within us. Are you keeping your gift and just focusing on just the business of offering? So those are the kind of questions that you want to ask. And do you actually offer personal touch to the services or the businesses that you're offering or looking for customers to come and join? Okay, so first scenario, are we all ready? Are we ready? So the first scenario is you are at an event, a networking event, and you meet someone who you want to be your customer. What steps will you take? Let's be interactive. We're all here to learn. No silence today. So you're running a business, you go to an event, and you see somebody and you want that person to be your customer. What will be your steps? Anybody?
I'll more likely smile.
Yeah.
Smile, walk to the person, ask, usually what I usually do is kind of ask them like what brought them here at this particular event, and then I'll follow by introducing who I am, what I do, exchange a business card, and then yeah, that's how I kind of find out what they're here first. I feel like it's more warmer, and then I now from there, just because it distracts the conversation, then I now follow up with introducing who I am and what I do, and then we exchange cards. So then and if it's something could happen, and we pencil in a meeting. Yeah.
Fantastic. Anybody else wants to add to that? I know Dr. O has mentioned that, yeah, start a conversation.
Okay.
Peter?
Okay.
Exactly. Approach, introduce self, find out about them.
One business meeting like that. But
Pardon?
I'll respond later.
Okay, maybe it needs to be muted. Okay, so it's so important.
I was going to say, just to add on to, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, just to add on to what I've put on the chart, because it depends on the business that we are doing as well. because our business, our core business, I think you and me, Director Dr. Toyin, we are in the beauty industry, and we know that if you're in the beauty industry, our main goal is mostly a compliment, but usually that's how we break the ice with our potential customers. Because when you approach them, if you want them to be your customer, you would have noticed something about them. There's a quality that is attracted you to them. And then when you go there, you approach them, you introduce yourself, obviously, you smile, and then you compliment them about what it is that has made you notice them. So when you normally people, they like being complimented because they know they've been noticed. So once you have that usually breaks the ice and makes them more relaxed in your company because you've noticed them, because we all like to be noticed that we are there and we've got something good on us. And then from there, you start a conversation and then you try to find out more about them. And then usually the conversation, once they are relaxed in your presence, the conversation will flow and then you can introduce whatever. You can lead the conversation towards your business. Usually that's what I do. I lead the conversation, make sure that eventually it sounds like it's all about them, but in the back of my head, I know I would really want to introduce what I do and see how, when I listen to them, I respond to me, I see how I can introduce the business that will complement them as well, that they would like. And then we take it from there. And then usually we change numbers or email addresses or business cards, etc.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I think a lot of people don't actually think that deep when they're actually going to events, even parties. When you're going to parties, people like to put things in different compartments. I always say, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, it's part and parcel of you. It's your lifestyle. When you start putting them in separate boxes, it makes us look as though there's lots of work going on and there are lots of things you want to do. Every single thing that you do is interconnected. Okay, so I'll go back to sharing again. And now they've done the first scenario. So some things will be added and some things, okay, there we go. So most times when you want to go out, the steps you need to take is to be intentional about finding new customers. Sometimes it happens by accident, but if you're really working to build your business, before you actually leave home, or once you know the dates of the event, you need to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to this event on this day. These are the kinds of people I might possibly meet there. These are the kind of people who are probably looking to actually be customers in my business. So you're already thinking even before you get to that event. But you need to be intentional. How many people do I want? How many new customers do I want to get in that event, depending on the size of the event? Then the next thing is your image. No matter what business you're doing, you need to look good. Because the first thing people see is you before they see the business. So if they see you looking dowdy, not professional, just there, and then you come and tell them about a business, they've already made up their minds. So your image and the way you present yourself when you're intentionally going out looking for customers, look the part of your business. And if it's not something that people can see, be ready with your business cards, like somebody said, your digital cards, you have the conversation, we already talked about it. But also, before you even go, you're sitting down thinking about, how do I build a rapport with somebody that I meet? You might want to create a script that you can use. The script is not set in stone. It's something that it's fluid, so it can actually adapt it depending on the person who is in front of you. But at least have a basic understanding of what are the things that you might say to build a rapport and build that conversation. You also want to have a script on how to introduce your business or your service. You know, some people say, "Oh, I run this business. I'm in the cleaning business, or I'm in the beauty business, or I'm into IT. I am a project manager." And then somebody's now asking that, "Oh, so by the way, how does your business run?" And then you get stuck because culturally, there's this thing that we need to shift, which is if I tell him everything about my business, he might take my business or go and start his own. That's fine. If you're able to actually transfer information and somebody gets inspired and starts their own, that's a good thing. You just need to work harder, you know? So once you've done your script, you also need to create a script that, okay, when it gets to a stage, how will I ask that question? As to, I want that person to use my service or to buy my product. You have to also have an idea that how do you do the ask? The asking and informing them. And then the most important thing where a lot of us who run businesses fall down on is actually the follow-up. You had the conversation, you've had fun, you've eaten together, you shared other things about your lives or family, and then you get their names, you get their number, email address, social media, whatever it is, and then you leave the party, and then you get home. Sometimes you lose the card, or you lose the paper in which you wrote it on, and then you don't follow up. The most important part of a connection or connecting and building a new customer is the follow-up. If you fall down on the follow-up, all your intentions and all your plans that you've done previously will actually fall flat on the face. Do you agree?
100%, 100%, 100%.
Okay. So when you're also thinking that, about your business and about customers, because we're going to be looking for customers, but you also, part of your preparedness is knowing what and how would you define customer service, first and foremost, in relationship to your business. Yeah? So you need to know, what does customer service looks like in my own business? Provision of service to customers before, during, and after a purchase or service. Each business requires different levels of customer services. Some people do well with just doing feedback, that's it. But some people need to be a bit more, do a bit more. And a great customer service will always generate increase in revenue. And they always say that 86% of consumers say a good customer service experience turns them from a one-time buyer to a loyal customer. And this is what you want, that whatever you're providing, you want them to keep coming back. Or you want them to be referring other people to come to your business. Does that make sense? So what are the 3 important qualities of what your customer service should be once you get those customers? Professionalism, patience. I'm sure somebody is laughing there, but this patience thing is patience. Because running a business, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint-hearted. So you need plenty of patience. And you also need the people-first attitude. You might be great in your business, you might have all the knowledge about your business, but you always hear the customer is always right, even if they're talking rubbish. There's a way in which you communicate with them and you bring them over to your side. And then when you also then look at the principles of the customer that you're bringing in, what is it that you want to offer them? Be personalized. Some people do general things, but some people want to be personalized. You need to know your business, like I mentioned earlier on. And also there needs to be the ability where there's easy access to your customer service that you're providing for that business that you're actually running. There's no point saying that, oh, if you have any problem, contact us between 9 and 5 p.m. in the evening, and then you call maybe about 4 o'clock and the phone is just ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. What do you think the customer will do? They just think you're not serious, and they'll walk away. Yeah? And always be proactive. Always think about the worst possible scenario. I know they always tell us we need to be positive 24/7. We preach it all the time. But also you need to give leeway that should something happen, how will I deal with this? Because it's also part of the process with your customers. So communication and building relationship, which is what we said at the first scenario. These are key things to get and build your customer and your customer base. So what are the different communications? Being polite. It doesn't cost you to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It doesn't matter the age, because we sometimes have this ageism thing in the Black community. Because I feel I'm older than you, and the way you greeted me, you get angry. But just being polite. There's no sense of entitlement, because I might be younger than you, but I'm providing you a service that will be valuable to your business or be valuable to you. So, but when the ageism obscures that, you lose that customer. You need to be non-judgmental. You need to be a fantastic listener, because sometimes it's the things that is not said that you see, especially when it comes to body language, is what will actually get you the most important connection. Integrity. I can't say it enough. In the Black community, I'm very sorry to say that sometimes that seems to be what brings us down. And we need to work on this integrity. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Because that way you build that trust in your customers and they will always refer people to you. There's also the aspect of respect. So even before somebody becomes your customers, these are the kind of things you need to start to think about. Am I respectful? Do I have integrity? Do I listen? Am I polite? Because when people watch you talking to other people, sometimes a lot of us think that when you're talking to somebody, nobody else is watching or listening. People watch. People like to watch. And the way the person responds to you might signal something to that third person watching across. So that is very, very important, that you are very well aware that when you're looking towards building your customer base or looking for customers, these are the subtle things that you might not take seriously or might not realize the impact of this when growing your business. So let's talk about the different ways in which we can communicate. So we've gone somewhere, we've had a conversation with somebody in a party or somewhere, but now there are other ways in which you can actually communicate.
Sorry, your slide is gone.
Yeah, I've stopped sharing so that you can, yeah. So how else can you communicate? You've done the face-to-face. How else do you reach out and look for the customers that you're looking for?
Email marketing, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, referrals, LinkedIn, social media.
Exactly. I love
associations is a very good one. Associations. There's a lot of industry associations, memberships, paid. Fantastic. They're really good.
fantastic. So when we look at the aspect of communication, I know most people tend to not talk because they think social media has solved their problem. But I can tell you the greatest way you can grow your business is that face-to-face communication. You can't go wrong. So let's look at the aspect of using communication by telephone. So somebody has given you a name of somebody, or you're actually strolling the diary or websites and looking for, sometimes you can just go on a phone book in those days and look for different companies and think, okay, these are the companies I want to call. They don't know you from Adam, but you've made up your mind that I need to speak to this company because I want to introduce whatever my product or my service is to them. Yeah. So you pick up the phone and you have that conversation. So in that conversation, I'm going to carry on sharing my slide. We're going to look at the aspect of telephone conversation. whatever you do, when you're about to make that conversation or communication with that company, that person, make sure you have a notebook and a pen available. I always say you can't remember everything, but if you write it down, at least it's written down somewhere, you can always go back to it. If I'm running a company, I might decide that, you know what, the phone in my office should not ring more than a certain number of times before it's picked up. Yeah. But also in the process of you having that conversation, you need to smile. You know, people always say, oh, but nobody can see me smiling. I tell you, you might think nobody. I always say life is so spiritual and business is even more spiritual. Your attitude, your demeanor, the way you speak when you smile on the phone is different from when you're like grumpy. Oh, I just need to make this phone call. There's a difference. So it's important that your demeanor, the way you feel, your image at the time you're making that phone call, you feel professional within yourself, even though nobody's looking at you. Yeah? Listen attentively and take notes. And also be aware of your emotions and stay positive. Because you might think somebody's going to be a fantastic customer and then you give them a call and they come with an attitude. That will tell on your emotions. The way you take or respond to it is very, very important. But as much as possible, no matter the circumstances, stay as positive as you can. Yeah? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? No comments? Does that make sense?
So much sense, mom.
Yes.
It does. Fantastic. So communication online.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Communication online. I'm not a social media guru, but whatever you do on your social media, whatever you're advertising, the most important thing is to respond to comments and likes. You can churn a lot of content out, but if you're not following the content, the comments, the likes, the people who have liked, and you have not followed up with those people, you're as good as doing nothing online. Waste of time, waste of energy, and waste of your content. The key is building that physical relationship after you've done the online part of it. Who agrees? Does anybody agree? Social media gurus on the platform, please tell me.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I
your
agree. Very,
yeah,
very important. You need to
yeah,
respond.
is the
Yeah.
response. Is
And
building that relationship.
sometimes you need to know what to respond to people. Because if you have 10 persons and this one gives his own affirmation, as the case may be, and you just say thank you, and the other person you are writing long statement, this one might feel slighted. You click only like for the input comment. So you need to understand that those kind of customers and give them, because people like you said, people they just get to read you and read whatever. It's more spiritual, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you can make money online, but most people, I don't know, this is from my little knowledge, most people would have made a name prior to being online.
Sorry, just to add to that, what Peter was saying, that and what you said, Peter, that's what is called engagement. One of the metrics you measure, with your social media presence, engagement.
Exactly. But a lot of people post but never follow up. And it's important that you know that when you're going online, there are many of you and people like you online. But why are you different? That's what people are looking for. Oh, if I go to this person, she'll respond to me or she'll pass a comment. But that other person just post and post and post. Who will they relate to? They will relate to the person that engages with them. So that is so, so, so important. Another aspect that we need to be very mindful for as entrepreneurs, looking for customers, potential customers, is your emotional intelligence. If you're not emotionally strong, I can tell you, you will not last in business. Not because you're not good at what you do, but because you're not able to manage your emotions when life happens. And life always happens.
Hello.
So pardon, go on. I thought somebody was saying something. Yeah?
No, sorry. It was me. Somebody was saying hello.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So emotional intelligence is key as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. You always have to be prepared. Yeah? Not all potential customers or customers will be easy or courteous. There's no point saying I'm a good person, I'm so good, everybody likes me. So how can this person behave this way towards me? They don't know you from Adam. But be prepared that some customers might be difficult. And you also need to learn the skills to manage difficult customers. There's no point saying it's not going to happen to me. Because if you're not prepared and it happens, it might kill your business because you get deflated. So it's important that you are self-aware that there are people like this exists. Yeah, much as we want customers, we also need to understand that there are going to be different kinds of customers that might rub us the wrong way. And you need to be prepared. Self-management of your emotions. Social awareness is important. We're not going to go into depth with this. This is something that I can do individually for those people who want to work on their customer services in their businesses. Relationship management. A lot of us, I'm sure, in business have gone through what they call damage limitation. Maybe your staff or somebody has done something, completely done it not the way you want. And because that customer is very valuable, you need to step in and go into relationship management and damage control. It's all part of running a business. We can't escape it. Yeah? Yeah? So it's very important that each can help one face any crisis with lowest level of stress. Running a business is stressful, true or false?
100%.
Very true.
So if you're not ready to manage your stress and manage your emotion, just know your business is going nowhere. And that's why some people need support, even when they're running businesses. Even you see multimillionaires telling you that, oh, I've got a mentor, I've got a coach. It's not because their business is not going well, but sometimes you need somewhere to recalibrate and put you back on track. So, scenario number 2, are we ready? So you got a new customer, you've told them how wonderful whatever you're offering is so good, and they feedback from lots of people about the businesses, but they then come back to you, they're not happy with the product or the service. How would you walk through that process so that you don't lose that customer? I don't want that attitude that I don't like her, it doesn't matter, let her go. More customers will come. But there's some customers that you do not want to lose. So how would you walk through that? Yes, Charity.
Yeah, I think from the word go, because when you're running a business and you are providing a service, that needs to be a part of your policy as regarding customers who are dissatisfied or who purchase services or products from you that do not meet their needs, or that that something is not working for them. You should have a policy where you're able to manage that, and that should be said upfront. Your customers need to know that upfront before they purchase anything or a service from you. So that should be part of your policy. And then So once that happens, your policy has to kick in. If you have got a 14-day return policy or whatever, that needs to kick into place so that you can manage the problem within the time that you have set in your policies and procedures. And if you have 100% customer satisfaction guarantee as well, which is what we have in our other line of business, you let that kick in so that you try and resolve the issue as soon as possible to the best satisfaction of your customer, so that you don't lose them. So you find out the most important thing is to listen to the customer, because some people, some business owners, they've got a tendency to justify themselves before they listen to the customer. Yeah, because they think, oh, our products are the best. There's no need, there's no way, whatever you're telling me is not true. You can't get into an argument with the customer. So you just have to listen to the customer, find out their issues are, address them as soon as you can. And then if there are options, find another option, and then again, ask them to come back to you and then follow up. I think the most important thing to also avoid issues like having customers complaining, have a follow-up procedure, because we know when we buy things from lots of companies, they'll follow you in a few days' time. How satisfied are you with our product that you got from us? How satisfied were you with the service that we provided you? Are there any recommendations? Is there anything you can do better? We can also do the same with whatever, whether it's a service or it's a product provision business. We need to do that with our customers. That will actually limit the number of complaints that you get. And when you get them, you can find out about a potential complaint before they come to you. You can find it out by reaching out to them and finding out if they are happy with the product. Do they know how to use the product? Or are they happy with the service you provided? Are they managing, or is there new instruction that they need? That way, if there's a potential complaint, you'd have addressed it before it appears. But if it does, again, follow your procedures that you are laid out and resolve it ASAP.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Anybody wants to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would like to say something.
Yes, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Okay. The reason why we exist is for the customers. If I have a product, I'm into manufacturing, I'm not into service, but I discovered that complaints will never end. It's always coming, but your responsibility as an entrepreneur is to be able to massage the egos of your customers, make them feel relevant, make them feel important, so that they can be a repeat buy. Every time we run into product quality issues, we ensure that we communicate, we call them to a gathering, and sometimes we have one-on-one discourse with the particular customers where issues arise, so as to do what? Increase your presence in their emotional bank accounts. If you don't do that, it is very easy to lose a customer within a snap of a finger, but it could take you a fortune to get one customer. So what we do as a business, myself and my wife, is to ensure that we give room, listening ears to what our distributors, our retailers are saying. Even when they are not saying anything, we are asked, sometimes we just throw certain questions out to them. Any issues, any complaint, how is our product compared to competition? Because there is no monopolistic business anymore anywhere. And as long as you want to exist, you are going to fight with other competitions. And no one product can serve an entire community. So just catch a niche for yourself and ensure that you do what? You are very, very close to them. So doing that, you can always, make the customer feel belonged. When the customer feel belonged,
he feels, yes, he is a stakeholder in your business. And the moment he has that perception, that belief that he's truly a stakeholder, oh, they hold him in high esteem, then he begins to want to buy more or even make referrals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. And one of the statements you made earlier reminded me of something I know about my business. You say, everybody has a sign on their forehead that says, make me feel important.
Yes, yes.
Make me feel important, you know?
That's true. That's true. That's massaging their egos.
Yes. Yes. Anybody else wants to contribute before we carry on? Yeah. So did you enjoy that scenario?
Fantastic.
Yes, loved it.
So let's carry on. Oops.
Sorry, Tony.
Yes, carry on.
Okay, so just two comments. One is on the sorry. So one is in relation to being friendly, smiling, like you mentioned. And I just wanted to add that even for our staff, so it's not just limited to the owners of the business, it also extends to the staff. You find that you go into shops, especially in our community, I see a lack of interest even when the customer walks into the shop. There's the total lack of interest. And in worst case scenarios, people are on their phone when a customer walks into the shop or into the office or whatever it is, and it just does not reflect well on the business. So I'm not just talking about owners, I'm saying even for the staff that we hire, they need to be trained on customer service, because you're not there sometimes and your staff are not doing the right thing for train your business in that sort of light that you would want. So on as staff training, staff education, etc., is one side. Then in relation to how you would respond to a customer who is not satisfied, I think it's so important that we have a feedback system in place in our businesses so that customers know, have the opportunity to share their thoughts and their experience in terms of the sort of customer service delivery that they've received. So many of our businesses don't have that in place. And in fact, I have experienced so many different cases where I've made a complaint to the business owner and they take offense. And they actually take offense because they say, oh, my product is so good, you are the first person to complain, etc. And I'm saying to this person, whatever it is that I've complained about as a customer, you need to take it on board. And you need to constantly improve your service delivery. So for a customer to actually pick up the phone to call the business owner to say, this was my experience about X, Y, and Z, it does not matter how good you've been for the past 50 years. I think there is something about continuous improvement, continuous development. Nobody has a monopoly. Something could have gone wrong in 1 minute that needs to be addressed that you didn't pick up. So we all have to listen. We all have to open up our minds to continue to improve, continuous improvement. I think it's the key to keeping those customers. And let us also remember that without the customer, there's no business. Without the customer, there is no business. So it's in our interest to make sure that we keep bringing those customers, keep them, and continue to get better in our procedures, in our processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So most of what is written on scenarios is being discussed, so self-awareness, because the first port of call is your emotions at the point in which that person complains. True or false?
True.
You see why the emotion is very, very important and why your emotional intelligence needs to be on point, because you need to be prepared. Because somebody might come in and say, oh, I don't like your product, or your product these days to me. Take a deep breath, count to 10. Don't just speak. because sometimes the thing that will come out, you can't bring it back. But just be aware of your emotions when that happens. Be patient to understand where the customer is coming from. Yes, your product might be fantastic. Yes, your services might have been good for people for many years, but somebody is complaining. Just take time to listen. And also be prepared to manage the customer's emotions. And that's what the gentleman said earlier about rubbing their ego. So not just about rubbing their egos, but understanding their emotions and allaying their negative emotions to whatever you're providing. And also, like I said, policies, options available, replacement, alternative, refund, whatever your policy is, always have it in place so life will be easier. And sometimes somebody might have an initial bad experience, but the way you manage that complaint or problem will actually empower that person to say, you know what? I'll recommend this company to you because when I had a problem, they were able to deal with it appropriately in good time. And they were quite happy at the end. And that is so, so, so key. Okay. Oops. So how do we improve our emotional intelligence? Because that's very important. True or false? I know we're talking about customer service, but we are our number one customers. We need to crow about what we're actually offering. Yeah? But we need to also learn to improve our emotional intelligence. Observe or take note on how you react to people. You know, it's good to say this person did this thing to me, but have you ever thought how you actually react to people? Be aware and look at your environment. It's not every time that something happens in your business, in your workplace, or in your business, or when you're doing an appointment or something like that. It's not every time you shout, because sometimes the other customers coming into the shop may not understand the reason why you're behaving the way you're behaving. And that will give them a completely different impression of who you are as an individual. Always learn to self-evaluate in different circumstances, especially when it comes to complaint. Examine how you react to stressful situations. You see, a lot of what I'm talking about is about you as an entrepreneur. Because unless you can master you, then it's going to be very difficult for you to work with potential customers who may be difficult, not out of spite, but it might just be what happened at that point in time. Take responsibilities for your actions. Examine how your actions will affect others before you take those actions. Very, very important. Very, very important and very key in actually managing and keeping and maintaining those customers. Because some people might be expert in saying, you know what, I'm a very terrible customer. But if I go to this person, even if I complain and complain and complain, she knows how to just manage me. And then in the end, I'm good. There's some people who are just there to test your patience. And just accept that that is that person's role in developing you in your business. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. So we're going to go. Your most unhappy customers are
What's
your
happening to
greatest.
your slide? Somebody's scrolling on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I must have pressed something. I don't know what it is. Okay, this pen thing, I don't know why it's come up. And it's just doing its own thing.
It's the edit pen. It's come up there.
I know, it just came up. Okay, let's exit it. Okay, anyway, we'll leave it as it is. Yeah. So, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. That was said by Bill Gates. True or false?
100% true.
Yeah.
Very correct.
Yeah, that is true, because that's why I said earlier, actually, it's an opportunity when you get a customer who comes to complain to you, rather than go out there and destroy your company or your business before you even know that there's a complaint going on. So when they come to you, it's a blessing, because you can put you can put things right.
Exactly.
So you should actually thank them when they come to complain.
Exactly. So the skills to deal with these difficult customers is remain calm, don't take it personal, Use your best listening skills. Actively sympathize with them. Apologize gracefully. Even though you're very angry inside, it's okay. Apologize gracefully. Find a solution. And take a few minutes on your own. Step out of the situation and process it. Yeah? So these are the benefits of having good customer service. So now you've looked everywhere, you've got your customers because you know where to find them, you've done the engagement, you've done the conversation with one another, you've exchanged cards or business cards or digital cards or website, you followed up. Then now your customers. But they've remained your customers because of the benefit of the customer service that you actually have. And they always say your loyal customers, they will return 4 times more than a new customer. It's harder to get a new customer than for you to have a customer that who keeps on coming back. True or false?
True, ma'am.
Yeah. And your return customers will spend more money than a new customer. So it's imperative and it's important as a business owner to work with your customers that you already have. Keep them. Because they might be the stepping stone to bring in new customers because of the way you've treated them. They are a great source of referrals and also your business growth. Any questions so far? We've talked about most of these things about customer service ideas, like feedbacks. It could be online, in person, self-service option. You can create a document for your business, get somebody to create it for you, but you need to constantly review these documents because things change. Policies come, new technology comes in. So you need to be constantly reviewing whatever your feedback, your survey, or whatever options that you're actually giving to your customers is available on time and you respond in time. It's so, so, so important. Yeah. Just having satisfied customers is not good enough. You just don't want them to be satisfied. You want them to crow. That when they mention your name, the name of your business, your company, they're like, wow. And that's where we all want to be at. And they say assumptions are the termites of relationship. Yes, never, never, never assume. Never. Assumption is that causes a lot of problem. And I'm sure some of you know what they say. Assume means, I'm not going to say it, but a lot of people know what it means. It means makes an ass out of you, of me. So you need to be very careful. Above all, in all your workings, growing your business, finding customers, maintaining customers, you still need to look after you. Above all, your well-being is key to your success. Because if you're not physically able, you can't go out there and get your customers. If there are things going on emotionally outside of your business, you cannot engage with your customers and give them good customer service. So those are the things that you need to look into and master or create avenues or systems or have systems in place to help you manage this. So at least you have a seamless customer service and you continue to spend your time doing the active aspect of your business, going out there and getting customers. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Has it been useful?
Question.
Question, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Let me say thank you for a wonderful delivery. I have learned something today, and we keep learning as we go through little short courses, seminars of this nature. Thank you, Doctor. It's been wonderful presentation so far. My question, somebody once said, as we're going on, that not only the entrepreneurs, not only the business owners, our staffs, our representatives of our products or our services, how else can we motivate them to, even when they are not happy, they can pretend to smile? What level of motivational tools can we put in place to ensure that our staff presents a smiling look all the time? Thank you.
Okay, regarding that, like I said at the very beginning, personality test. Because if you understand the people working with you and you understand their personality, you'll be able to communicate with them effectively in their own language. People respond differently to different things. I might say to somebody, oh, why don't you just take this chair upstairs and just do it? One person might say, oh, okay, my boss has told me to take the chairs upstairs. Another person will respond in such a way, who does she think she is? But meanwhile, you're sending the same message and it's being received differently. But until you understand the personality of the people who you're working with, it becomes very challenging. So it's about knowing your staff. Where is your staff's strength? How do they like to be communicated? How do they want you to approach them when they've done something wrong? Because if you have a general way of responding and shouting, then it doesn't work for some people. Some people function when you shout on them. Some people shut down when you shout on them. Some people just want that little conversation that said, you know what, Toyin, you know what, the way you did that thing is not the way I want it to do. But if you have done it this way, that's fine. Then I'll respond positively and I'll do what I need to do. But if you come to me, because my personality is like, I like to be spoken to and explain things to be explained to me, and you shout, I would just shut down. And I tell you, down goes your business. Because that attitude will rub off on your customers when they come in. So it's about getting your team members or your staff together, even if it's a weekly or monthly thing, that, you know what, let's play a personality game. How much do you know yourself? And that brings that unity and family aspect into the business that you're actually running, because they are now invested that, oh, the person who runs the company cares about me. Because that's all most people who go to work or run businesses, they don't talk because at the end of the day, they think the boss doesn't care. I'm only here to collect the money. But when you put value into the reason why they're with you and you work on their strength, that they actually contribute. I always say to people, even if you're doing a JOB, you're actually running a business because you're selling of your skills to that business. The difference is that they tell you how much you're going to be paid. That's the difference. We're all business people in our own way. So that's what I'll suggest for people who have staff working with them. Have days where you sit down together and know a little bit about them. Do a personality test. There's so many personality tests online. Just get them together, do their personality, and when they read about their personality, and it's quite interesting that when they read what the outcome is about them, some of them will think, oh my God, this is so true. And then they start to be aware of themselves and also aware when everybody shares what their personality is, become aware of their strengths and weaknesses, and you can actually work with them. I hope that helps, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. I think it does help. We'll work more on what you have just said. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anybody else have any questions, suggestions, comments?
I think with me, what I've got out of it was, which is something that I need to implement a lot more, is ask questions. Like focus more on asking questions, focus more on like finding out what my customers' burdens are, and then I can just channel my energy to that. And that would obviously have a massive impact on revenue because you're solving people's problems. Yeah, so that's something that I got out of it.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Anybody else? Can I pick on people? Yes, I can. Okay, Joy is on, Peter is on, Beverly, Cynthia. Because a lot of us run businesses, we probably have customer service experiences. And how valuable has this webinar been?
I feel if you don't mind me speaking, yeah, I feel it's quite empowering, and it makes us think about what we do when we are running a business, because when we are running a business, we're not running the business for ourselves. Of course, the number one thing that made us start the business could be that we wanted to make profit, which is money. But at the same time, we need to remember that for a business to be successful, you cannot run a business in a vacuum. Any business to be successful is the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, that you provide the service to. So making the customer feel important, like the saying goes, that the customer is king. It's actually true. As much as you might not feel like they're the king when they are screaming and shouting at you, you just want to strangle them at that time. Just put on your plastic smile and then breathe and count to 10 and listen and nod, and write. Like normally what I do if somebody's, like if they're face to face with me, like you said, so that they know that you're listening. You do keep eye contact. And then if I have a notepad, normally I tend to write the notes. When I'm talking to them, I write any points they are bringing, and then I repeat them to them. Say, so you said, this is what happened. Am I right to say this is what happened? And this is how it made you feel. And then that way from there onwards. So they just automatically, like my brother earlier said, rub their ego. It's just making them feel important so that they know you're listening to them. Once we make our customers feel important, I think it makes life easier. And then it makes us successful as business people because we get referrals from there. So that's what I've learned, that we sometimes forget to do that. We sometimes forget that we are in business for the people.
Exactly.
We make it all about ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rebecca is agreeing to that.
You know,
your business is not about you, it's about the people that you're serving. The money will come once you make the connection with the people that you're serving. Your money will come when you make the connection with the people that you're serving. On that note, anybody else wants to contribute? Rebecca is really excited. I can see. I'm not sure whether Peter is on or Beverly, are you joining in? AL Accounting, say something.
I'm on.
Yeah. Any comments?
Yeah. Yeah. The little comment I want to make is about feedback. Feedback is very, very important in a business.
Yes.
In fact, in my trajectory in transiting from office working to business, I discovered something which I hold very close to my mind. One or two things. One, customer service is not a department, but an attitude.
Yeah.
That's one. So most times, every department that I have, I'm trying to grow this my own business now. It's an online business. I always tell my people that. Can you still hear me? Sorry, a call came
Yeah, we
in.
can hear you.
Okay. So I always tell people that of customer service is all about your own attitude. sometimes people do business with you because of they just like there's something about it. Just say there's an aura around you that make them do that business with you. Then two, I always see complaints. That is, complaints. I always see them as gifts. I've learned over why I worked in the bank before getting to this point here. So they taught us, and I agreed to it, that I see complaints as gifts. So even when you're running your business, like I think it's a fruit that says something that if you're running, you have 50 years experience in business, and they have not complained one day, there's a problem. So when they complain, see it as gifts, see it as it's an asset for you to now work on. Okay, and of course, so basically, it has to do with attitude. Anybody that does not have a humble disposition will not be able to do business because there are some things I won't take. No, you just have to take some things and move on. Eventually, some of those people will come back and complain and apologize to you. So you didn't even say anything and things like that. So that's just basically what I've learned, and I'm still learning, I'm still applying. And I want everybody to also apply that. So yeah, it's a wonderful webinar. Thank you so much, Tony. God bless.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions?
Hello, Tony. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for giving me the opportunity to talk. I wasn't expect to say much because I'm not well. I'm listening from the hospital. But anyway, it's good I heard you talk about emotional intelligence. That's a key. Sometimes it's not just customers. You can get negative reviews from outsiders. I remember we were having people who are not my clients calling all over the place. I think they've been scammed by another accountant that has a similar name to mine. And then I was having so many calls coming in through. And when one of them was not happy the way we were responding, because we then develop a specific way to respond to them and tell them where to go with their complaint. One of them was not happy, and then what they do is they go to my website and then get my number and call me, trying to call whoever has got some refund for them. So this emotional intelligence is very important, because not just the customers, but the outsiders as well, those that bump into your business, either through a missed call or so that person directly went out and put a negative review about me on my own website or my own website reviews. So yes, we should also look out for this, not just customers. But anyway, that's just my small contribution. All right, but it's good to see you all again. I've been up and down traveling and come back, and then I had to get admitted to the hospital for cold. So I am recovering. All right.
We wish you safe and quick recovery on
All
behalf
right,
of
thank you,
BABN.
thank you.
Get well soon.
Get well soon.
Get well.
I'm going to post an interesting YouTube thing on the platform. Some of us have probably seen it. I want you to copy and paste it. I think somebody was talking about team and how to work with your staff and things like that. So if you can copy and paste that link, I'll put it in the chat, and probably go maybe on your way home, just listen to it. So it might not necessarily be about your staff if you don't have staff, if you're just somebody working on your own, running your own business, but it's something that you're going to take away and you're going to say to me, oh my God, I never thought about these 3 things running my business, because I think that would be quite helpful for every single one of us. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Has it been useful?
No, I just said, yeah, it's been a useful one, and it's really been, kind of reminding us some things. One other thing you said was anticipating those things that is gonna come. When you don't anticipate and it comes, you are throwing off balance. So that's very, very important. And then what Charity mentioned, I like the way she talked about the steps of what she was gonna do if she comes into a networking place. That was really a detailed one by one thing, and then how you followed it up. So yeah, it's been very good section. Thank you, Dr. Tay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. So on that note, it's 5:15. We haven't done too badly. I shall hand over to the hostess, the hostess, Rebecca. Thank you.
I would like to say thank you so much once again, Dr. Toying. It helped me massively. I was actually making a lot of notes myself. So, and I hope everybody here was able to pick, at least, one thing that they can actually start applying straight away in their business. So it brings to the end of our webinar session. This session has been recorded, so the link should be shared shortly.
Thank you so much, everyone. And have a great rest of the evening. And keep sharing. I always say knowledge learned here is not just for you, it's for you to share with others. So if you have any other business or entrepreneurs that you know, share some of your tips, invite them to the next webinar. There's always things to learn. I always say learning is never over till you're 6 foot under. And we don't know whether if you go to the other side, you're still learning. No one has come back to tell us the tale. Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening, all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Nice to
Bye.
meet you
Bye-bye.
all. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Charity. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for all the contribution. Joshua has learned a lot as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma. Well done, ma.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Joshua, for all the reminders. You are such a
Yes.
hardworking person. I do appreciate you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, ma.
we
Welcome, ma.
do. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Joshua. Thank you,
Thank you
Charity.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Cynthia.
Thank
I
you,
guess Cynthia is
Cynthia.
working.
Thank you, Peter.
So you can remove those and then
I don't know how to do